Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. We're so grateful you are here. We're very blessed to be here again this week, enjoying this great weather.
Hasn't it been fantastic?
It's been amazing.
We've been enjoying walks in our favorite nature areas and just enjoying this wonderful late summer weather.
I agree. It has inspired me to, just really reflect. I know some parts of the year I reflect more than others, and fall is one of those where I'm seeing things change before my eyes from one day to the next, and I think about time passing, and I think about how my year has been. Where am I in this year? And have I gotten to where I'd like to be? Am I showing up the way I want to be? So I'm really grateful for this. And of course, my name is Marypatriece Wendt. I am the spiritual leader here.
And I'm Reverend Tom Wendt. It's my joy to support our spiritual leader in these talks on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful for everyone that is. So let's go ahead and begin with a prayer. Let's take a deep breath. Divine life, divine love, that feeling that empowers everything and creates everything that I experience, that I see, that I feel. Thank you for all of them, all the experiences that I have. All the joys, all the excitement, all of the suspense, all of the peace, even the confusion and just the things that perplex me, the things that hold my attention and keep me glued to what's going to happen next. The adventure is real, and I get to choose it. I get to choose my place in it. Thank you for the time and the space that is mine to do what I am called to do. I'm so grateful for each and every person that walks it with me, and I'm grateful for each breath that empowers me. May each and every one forward from this point on only expand in the ways that I dream of creating. And so it is. Amen. Shall we start off with our 5 unity principles?
Let's do that.
Okay. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotence. The Christ Spirit lives within me. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. I experience God's presence and power through prayer and meditation. I put my faith into action by demonstration. So we're so grateful here to be part of this ministry, and we know that in Unity that we are a group of people who believes in being more spiritual than religious, which means that we know that there's an inner guidance system planted deep in our hearts that helps us to move into each and every event that we experience from a higher place when we tune into that. And what we do here is to encourage ways to tune into that still small voice through the tools and the classes and the talks and sharing the journey together.
I feel that some of the feedback we're getting as we've boosted our services and more people out there are seeing us online. We're hearing back from some who are more religion-oriented. And remember one comment was that, well, wait, this wasn't a God talk, this was a self-help talk. And I think that's a difference between spirituality and religion. In religion, God is separate from us. And yet in my mind, how can you possibly help yourself without using God's power to help yourself? It's the power within us that we use to improve our lives and to move forward, as you alluded to just a moment ago. So I think that's one of the something that distinguishes us between the more religious, the spiritual, is that we don't see a separation between us and God.
And we don't promote a certain way of doing things. I mean, we promote healthy ways of looking at things and moving forward, but we don't have particular rituals or ceremonies or things like that that have to be just so to bring out that spiritual feeling for you, that sacred feeling for you, because that can be different for everyone. But what we do encourage is that you find the way to make it sacred for yourself, to make that meaningful. Because if we don't find the meaning in our lives, who will? Who will? So I am so grateful for having this morning to be with you and to be with Ken. I'm going to have Ken, our music leader for this morning. He's going to start us off with our music. And I'd like to introduce our tech team extraordinaire, who's been really working together this morning. You should have seen all the conversations this morning going on before we came on live. It was probably a good thing they weren't on live. I mean, nothing bad or anything, but a little joking around here and there. So George and Joe, thank you so much for being here. Kim, thank you also for recording. We're so grateful for the many talents and people that make these days happen. We couldn't do it alone. And even if you have a message, you have to have like-minded people to work with you to move that forward. So we're really grateful for that. So Ken, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than selfishness they loved their mercy and our lives. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Yeah, love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. You hold on tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you have so many that roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away, yeah, give it away. Oh, love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Money's dandy and we like to use it. Love is better if you don't refuse it. It's a treasure and you'll never lose it unless you lock up your door. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away, yeah. Give it away, yeah. Love is something something if you give it away. You end up having more. You end up having more. You end up having more. So let's enter into a time of gratitude, a time of reflection. Share with me some simple breaths. And just rest in your being with me, all of us together. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always here. Whoa, whoa. And every thought becomes a prayer. And every thought becomes a prayer.
So let's take a moment for quiet reflection. Take a deep breath. Allow that air to just move into your being. Allow it to energize every cell of your body. We'll release every thought that seems to be holding on. Letting it melt away. Allowing it to evaporate into the air. It moves into another dimension. The dimension of spirit. Where the hands and the heart of life hold it gingerly and transform it into the gift that it is meant to be. We trust in that spirit. As we move into our hearts, we settle our minds and our feelings into that space and breathe into it. With each breath, it expands and grows. We feel the life energy of who we are anchored right here. Knowing that the love we have given away multiplies and returns. Allow it to hold you. Allow it to know you. allow it to empower you in all that you do and all that you are. Allow it to be you. And as you accept that beingness in you, notice anything that falls away and bless it. It isn't that you don't care. It is because you care that you release it. Just feel how loved you are right now. There is nothing for you to do, nothing for you to prove, just to know. See the light bursting forth, radiating out in every direction, radiating in and blessing you. Creating a connection that is unbreakable. And breathe into that. Thank it for being there. Welcome it into your conscious awareness as you gently move back into the room. Quietly open your eyes. Feeling the blessing has moved here with you, expanded in you, and shows up as you. And so it is. Amen. Welcome back.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Today, this week, just like every day, all we need is love.
Mm-hmm.
For ourselves, for each other, for our communities, for our country. Yet what is the definition of love? The Quest study that we're doing each week by Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola states that there are 3 types of love. One is the sensual love, that physical pleasure, the personal fulfillment, that feel-good love. The second one is conditional love. I love it if you give me what I want. And I'll give you love back when that happens. And the third one is the Christ love, the pure joy of giving, the pure joy of being, just for being love. So in reflecting on this week, I think about which form am I expressing? in my personal relationships, even beyond with respect to my community and my country? Do I aim to experience from that sensual feel-good perspective? I'm just going to invest where it feels good? Am I conditional? Well, I'll get involved as long as I know I'm going to get what I need. Or am I coming from that Christ love of being the presence, being a part of the experiences around me, but choosing who I am in that? If I'm honest with myself, I actually would say that I float through all the different types of love that they described. And sometimes I may operate from all of them at the same time. So in fact, I'd even go as far to say that they're, in my mind, they're the stages of love that somebody might experience. So for example, if I'm going to go on a vacation, I might think, the feel good is I'm going. This is going to be for me. This is my retreat. I'm going. I'm going to feel great. I'm going to do everything I want to do, the things that really speak to me. But when I get there, I'm going to want to get what I want. And, if that doesn't happen, I may not feel like I want to invest in too much, whether it's an activity or a time in an excursion or something, if it's not exactly going to turn out the way I think it should. But if I'm coming from that Christ love, I may go, and no matter what experience occurs, I may feel that love. I may feel that fulfillment, the good, it's all perfect no matter what shows up feeling. And I get to choose that. While I agree that the quest has these types of love and they do occur, I can believe you go even farther. They give me the information about the stage of love I might be experiencing, but I can still dive more deeply. In my mind, there's authentic love. And authentic love is a gift for all. But I'll talk a little more about that later.
Like what you said, if you were looking forward to something and with great anticipation, it doesn't work out that way, you can still appreciate it for what it is. So instead of getting what you want what you get. You just accept it and love it as best you can. And I like what the quest says. It says, true love is expressed not to be reciprocated, but to help us feel completely alive. And when I'm in that grateful state where I just love life and I'm grateful for everything that I have or will have or has had, or when I'm kind and thoughtful to others, I feel alive. I just feel better. I feel like, yes, this is good. And I've also heard love described as an agreement of existence. I love that. It's like we're all existing here together. Let's agree to live it in love. And in my mind, typically, love is supposed to give us warm fuzzies. I'm thinking that if I'm feeling loving, I'm feeling good. And it reminds me of something that truly happened. This happened over a decade ago when our church was back at our former location. We had a board member by the name of Mickey, and Mickey had some new neighbors move in, and these were city folk. They weren't at all comfortable with or knowledgeable about planting things and whatnot. So one spring day, they dug up a portion of their yard and put some flower seeds in, and they were telling Mickey, they didn't know how to water them. They weren't sure what to do. And but that day or a few days before, Mickey had bought a flat of flowers for his own yard. And what he did then, that night, after talking to his neighbors, he snuck into their yard and planted all those flowers in that place where they put the seeds. And the next morning they woke up and said, and Mickey says, wow, what happened here? You guys really have green thumbs. To me, that's a true story, and that's a real example of an agreement of existence. Just being there for each other because we're populating this planet together. And I think kindness is simply the truth of being, love expressing that which we are. How many here remember the Random Acts of Kindness movement that was that about a decade ago or something like that? I know that was popular. It's still in existence, and I went on their website yesterday as we were preparing this talk, and they had some good ideas of random acts of kindness, and one that really struck me was talk to someone or text someone good morning or good evening. So I texted my sister Sue. I said, hey, Sue and Rich, I'm just letting you know I hope you have a good evening and a wonderful day tomorrow. And she texted me right back, said, thank you, Tom. I hope you have a blessed day too. And I felt more alive. I just felt better. So, and another suggestion they had, and I kind of missed this one for this year, but it was leave uncarved pumpkins on a family's doorstep. Isn't that a good idea? Oh, I wish I would have thought of that. So anyway, it's something for next year. So I'll invite everybody here who's listening to us to engage in a random act of kindness today. Not that you wouldn't have already, but maybe just a reminder that you might want to do that. The book Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters also brings another perspective about love, because the one I just had really gives warm fuzzies, like I said. And she says, you are good, yes, but it is a negative goodness. You haven't realized your powers and made positive and purposeful use of them. You have been made to feel that non-resistance and righteousness and Christianity are all passive. And she says, it is unkind to shield people from the consequences of their own behavior. So this isn't so warm and fuzzy now. She says, while it is a virtue to always be ready to help others, we must be sure that we are truly helping them and not hindering them by allowing them to continue in the unwise habits that have brought them to lack. She asked, do you demand of others that which you demand of yourself? That's a great question. Do I demand of others what I demand of myself? That others use good judgment and restraint when necessary. She said, you must expect others to do their part if you come from love. She goes on to say, the kindest thing we can do is not to shield someone from the consequences of their behaviors, but instead to see them in prayer, creating ideas in mind that lead them to their highest good. Her advice is, pray for them, don't try to fix them or shield them. Wow. So to all of you hearing this, I'll ask you, as I ask myself, is there someone we are shielding from the consequences of their behaviors? If you want to be loving, allow them to experience life without your interference. Wow. Huh?
Wow. That was a punch.
That was a punch.
I kind of
we
felt
went from
that.
warm fuzzies to kind of a punch.
Yeah, it was a
reminder.
boot with a point on the end. So you're actually going in kind of the direction I was thinking of too.
I'm glad to hear that.
You know, we agreed.
Yeah, we do.
When we truly dive into the stages the book suggests, we know that there's more there. They don't end there. So how do I express love purely for being love? What does that look like? 1 John hints in chapter 4, verse 18. He says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not perfected in love. Now, when I first read that, I think of that as I shouldn't fear expressing my love. I shouldn't fear because, Sometimes when I do that, I might feel vulnerable, and I may be afraid that I will get hurt from doing that. That's still one interpretation. But another interpretation, as I noticed, is to have no fear in speaking authentically. When we're coming from a stage of being love, we can communicate a message to another person about the effects of their actions and release them to handle that information. I know I have benefited from that. I struggled for many years with my daughter. We couldn't come to the same page. We couldn't come to an agreement. We couldn't even agree on how to operate from one day to the next. We went to therapy. We were talking. I was creating, can we agree on this? Can we agree on... It wasn't working. Until I heard the messages I needed to hear in those sessions that said, I'm giving you the information of what the effects are of our relationship. I trust that you need now to act on them in whatever way that feels right to you. And her choice was not to. Her choice was not to act. So my next step was to do what was right for me, which was to say, you know what? It's not working. We've tried this, we've tried this, we've tried this. I need you to move. Which she did. She still graduated from college. She's living on her own. She is gainfully employed. She has a love in her life. I can't decide that my decision or what I'm afraid to present to her is going to be bad for her. That's not my decision to make. But I can present what's happening for me and make a decision on what's right for me. I can give another example of this too. And I grew from this. It was one of my biggest lessons. And I can give another example where I had someone come to me and share with me, a friend who came to share with me after one of my talks and said, hey, do you know when this happens, that this is the effect that it feels on the other end? I didn't know that. But the information was given so that I could make a choice about it. And my choice was to change it. And I get the joy of doing that. I get the joy of a better life because of that information. So, to me, authentic love is a gift to all.
So you neither tried to shield your daughter from the consequences of what needed to be, and your friend did not shield you from what could have been seen as, positive, maybe constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I like that. I really do. And I think another perspective yet is brought to us by Tibetan Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron. She says spiritual awakening is frequently described as a journey to the top of a mountain, where we leave our attachments and our worldliness behind and slowly make our way to the top. She says the only problem with this metaphor is that we leave all the others behind. We leave behind our drunken brother, or our schizophrenic sister, our tormented animals and friends. Their suffering continues unrelieved by our personal escape to the top of the spiritual mountain. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, says love is the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Pema Chodron goes on to say, in the process of discovering bodhicitta, the heart of compassion, the journey goes down, not up. It's as if the mountain is pointed toward the center of the earth instead of reaching up into the sky. Instead of transcending and kind of leaving all the suffering of all the creatures, we move towards it. We move towards the turbulence and towards the doubt. We jump into it, we slide into it, we tiptoe into it, but we move into it however we can. I think I have a story to share with you that really points that out to me. Whenever I visit Unity of Oak Park, I exit the expressway and there's a ramp there at Harlem Avenue, stoplight. There is always a panhandler there. Someone with a sign that says jobless, but they always have a cup ready to receive some money from us or a gift. And when that happens, I have a choice, and it's a difficult one. I feel this awkwardness. I don't know for sure what to do. I can either ignore him and just kind of inch the car forward, as they pass by so that I don't have to give him anything. Or I could look right at him, roll down the window, and maybe give him that bottle of water I brought in anticipation of this, or hand that person a couple of dollars. Which one makes me feel more alive when I give him that dollar or two or a bottle of water? Oh, I know what about giving them money. I know the story. Yeah, well, they'll just spend it on drugs, right? Baloney. I spent a lot of time in Florida, and in Florida, there's a panhandler at almost every corner. It's a little bit of an exaggeration. There's a lot of them. They even have a newspaper they put out on a regular basis about panhandling and what it's like. And many people use panhandling as a way to support their family. They're not all drug addicts or losers. It's all they can do. It's all the skill they have at that time to raise their family. So we explore the reality and unpredictability of insecurity and pain, and not knowing what to do, we explore it instead of pushing it away. So instead of making sure my window's rolled up and looking away at this panhandler, I feel much more alive when I honor that person and honor our coexistence on this earth. And that, to me, sounds more like Fillmore's definition, the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. So where am I rolling up my window into something about something I'm uncomfortable with that I ought to be diving into? The Quest says, true love is expressed not to be reciprocated, but to make us completely alive. And man, I feel alive when I help someone like that. It is an agreement of existence. I'm like saying, hey, brother, I'm here with you too.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So coincidentally, we heard a similar message yesterday when we were in our therapy session, didn't we? Mm-hmm. That authentic love is a gift for each other and for everyone else. I mean, we heard one of the things I said, our therapist asked, so what's the good thing about your relationship? And I said, I have someone in my life who is willing to be, who authentically loves me, and is willing to tell me the messages that I need to hear to grow. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that, because each time I grow, I feel more alive. I feel more loving. I feel more expanded in being the presence that I want to be. So in the laws, the book In the Laws of Love by Margaret Ponders, she states, love does not mean giving in to every whim, nor is it becoming subservient, either physically or emotionally. Love is strong, and the constructive expression of love can be the most difficult of courses to follow. I know I don't give in all the time, right?
And my comments, I think, are not so much on what you need to grow, but we are willing to explore the kind of things that many couples well, I don't want to say it because it might upset them, kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So we are willing to accept each other and not shield them from the consequences when we're upset or when we're having an issue with something.
Well, and sometimes our conversations are about maybe going deeper into what we've each heard from the other, and maybe
Sure.
we've misinterpreted.
Absolutely.
So it just keeps the line clear, doesn't it?
It does.
In closing, when we have the courage to authentically love, we move towards the difficult situations rather than away from them. We speak our hearts without expectation of the other person, and we move in love towards our highest good. All we need is love. Authentic love is a gift for all. Namaste.
Namaste.
Forgot to do that.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, I will be shown how. Love is my decision, right here, right now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. Once I decide to change my mind, I will be shown how. Love is my decision, right here, right now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, I will be shown how. Love is my decision, right here, right now. My decision, right here, right now.
Thank you, Ken. So at this point in time, we'd like to receive your tithes and offerings. We're so grateful for all of your gifts. USCW is a self-supporting ministry. That means everything we take in goes to supporting what we do here, the groups, the talks, the classes, all the good things that happen. And like you said last time, it's an investment. It's an investment in a life and a way of living that you choose, that you feel is worthwhile. So if you are here in the building, please take your gift in your hand. If you're home, please hold it in your heart. If it's electronic giving, we'll say a short little prayer. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Amen. Just have a couple of announcements. Of course, double check back to our Facebook page or our Instagram account for meditations and affirmations throughout the week. We have our Christ Mind study group. It's going to be on Saturday at, I believe, 10:30. And it's the Way of Mastery that they're studying. It's another really great focus group on finding the tools to live a life that's more full, to be a more full experience for you. We're grateful that each and every person is a part of it. And we invite you to join along. So we have, right after the service today, we will continue our discussion about the talk, and if you'd like to check in, please do so. Our Zoom meeting, it went out, the address went out on our e-blast last week. But if someone will monitor the comments here, if anyone would like to join us, we'll get that information to you as well. Are we ready?
I think we're ready for the prayer for protection,
Let's
which
do
will
it.
conclude our service for today.
I agree. All right. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our service for this morning. Take care. Have a great week.